Hello, this is John McAllister with Upper Sandusky, my hometown. It's one of the video podcasts that I do about somebody from Upper Sandusky, somebody that works in Upper Sandusky or lives in the Upper Sandusky. Anything to do with Upper Sandusky. It is my hometown. It is a town I moved here when we were 14, coming from the country, Eden School District. But Upper Sandusky is a great place, and I think it should be featured. Today, my guest is Trey Miller. Trey Miller is responsible or influential in pickleball. If you go by the Harrison Smith, if you go by the park, often there are pickleball games going on. I think there's even a tournament coming up. It features more older people than younger people, but it's a great way to get exercise. It's a great way to socialize, and good sport. I think there are 3 courts now with the old tennis courts and then the former basketball court. That play pickleball, and exciting game. So if you'll sit back and enjoy my video podcast today with Trey Miller, and he's going to share a lot of his ideas on the game of pickleball.
So we started last summer, and we had like 8 people signed up, maybe. So we bought 4 rackets and a couple balls, just with that one pickleball court. And we got there the first day, and we had 26 people show up. And I was like, oh man.
That's really good.
Yeah. So, and it was a lot of people just kind of seeing what's going on, because pickleball, this new thing, just kind of see what it's about. And we ended up having about 8 or 9 people normally. We've built up to, there's 24 people that come. Usually we have about 15 or 16 people each time we have it. But
okay, well, let's talk about pickleball then.
Yeah.
We'll share the ideas. I did some background on it, and it wasn't named after a woman's dog, Pickles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a farce.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about how it got started?
Well, I know there was a few dads that had a kid, and they were just trying to figure out a new thing for the kid to do, kind of bored. So they set up a net, and they kind of ragtagged the ingredients of the game and made it up as they went. And that was back in, I think it was 1986, was it?
I think someplace in there.
Yeah. And it kind of, these past, I'd say 10 years, maybe, it's really gained traction around the U.S. and the world now, but fastest growing sport.
What I read too, these guys were they were playing golf, and they were looking for badminton. They had the badminton court, and they couldn't find anything, so they grabbed a couple of ping pong paddles and a wiffle ball. That's where it all started.
Yeah, and that's right. And you can see in the sport I always say it's a mixture between tennis and ping pong. Right. Because you've got the physics of ping pong, but then you have the more physical movement and the size, obviously, closer to tennis.
Let me come back to uniqueness.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
Yeah.
Pickle boats. Pickle boats in rowing are where they just have a boat that has all the leftovers. Guys that aren't very good. So they just kind of threw them all together, and the analogy there is that they have pickle boats with average or not very good players, and
the sour players of the team.
Equipment. Exactly. Yep. how high is the net? Let's go. You probably know them. I didn't look up dimensions.
Oh man.
How
So
would that be?
On the outsides, if I remember correctly, on the outsides, I believe it was 36. And then on the inside, because it dips down a little bit,
Right.
the inside was 34.
Okay. You have any idea of how big the court is?
I don't.
Okay. It's smaller than
It is. It is. It's smaller than a tennis court.
Well, tell me the object then. I have some pictures I'm gonna post later that I took when I put this together. But what's the object? How does it work? Now we're gonna start a game of pickleball here. Tell me how it works.
All right. So you have kind of opposite of tennis, where you have the service courts, the square parts that are kind of mapped out with the lines, are in the backs of the court, and you serve across diagonally to the other team.
Okay.
It bounce back into the court, and when it comes back, it has to bounce one more time. Then after that, you can do a mixture of volleying, keeping it in the air, or it can bounce back if you need it to get in the right position. One of the rules with pickleball is when you hit with the racket head has to be below your waist with a serve.
That's interesting. So when you hit the ball, the racket has to be below your waist.
Yeah. Yep. That paddle has to be below your waist. So
no overhand then, right?
No, not with a serve. Now, the rest of the game you can hit it over, but just with that serve, it's so you don't get people spiking it.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Serve has to be underhand.
Yep, serve has to be underhand.
Like serve. Like a badminton serve.
Yes, exactly.
And then it's like badminton. Probably you can hit low serve, side serve. I mean returns.
Yes. Yeah.
Volley, I guess it would be called.
Yeah.
That's really good. Why is it attractive to older people?
So that's a good question. In the past year, I've been trying to figure that out. So it's a lot less physically demanding than, say, tennis. Right. With the size of the court being substantially smaller in comparison, there's a lot less running from this end of the court to that end. Right. But you do have, with the way the ball's bouncing, there's a lot more kind of bending over some. But it's just overall, it's a lot less physically demanding than its counterpart of tennis, which it's a pleasant time.
Well, and plus people get along. And I mean,
and the group that we've had so far this past year, we started it, like I said, last June, playing down at Harrison Smith. And then we've been lucky enough to have John Stewart allow us to play in their family center over the winter. So you can play in the winter then. Yep. We play inside in the family center over the winter, and it's just we've been meeting twice a week, and even now that's just through the Council on Aging twice a week. Okay. But the group that we have now, they've been meeting 3 or 4 times outside of that, even throughout the week in the evenings, other mornings, just playing as much as they can. It's awesome.
Well, Brenda Kaler, embarrass her here, but she has her own net, and she play at her house once in a while.
Yep, out in the drive.
I know about it, but I haven't seen it.
Yep, they play out in their driveway sometimes. Right. Yeah.
And then a friend of mine, she got her grandson a pickleball net, paddles and stuff to play in their driveway.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the space and eventually you don't even need the net if you just want to play around, but like just if you have the space and the paddles and the balls to do it, it's something that anybody can pick up on. So
I guess if you would visualize badminton, as far as hitting the ball and hitting the wiffle ball type ball back and forth, badminton, and then in tennis you visualize the court being smaller.
Yes. Yep.
Everything being smaller. So, and if you're really interested, go back down to the park, and there are people playing there, and all the time.
We're down.
When is your league at the park then?
So no, you're good. So we just play recreationally. We meet down there, and this will be through September. We meet on Tuesdays and Fridays from 9 to 11. And we're down there. If you need rackets, we have plenty of rackets and balls.
Really? Okay.
Yep. We have about eight right now, extra ones. All different types for people who, because there's a few different types of rackets, and each one kind of hits differently. So we have all the different types, so anybody who's new can find which one they like the best before they go out and buy their own.
Right. That's a good idea.
Make sure they know what they're getting, and make sure they know what works best for them.
And do a lot of couples come down?
Yes. But it's
boyfriend, girlfriend, or
yeah. It's funny though, because something I've noticed is that a lot of times you don't want to play with your significant other. Because I've seen it happen with everybody. They're out there playing, and all of a sudden one's blaming the other for a shot, or other way around. It's the funniest thing to watch.
But the partners are on the same side.
Yeah. You play with your partners on one side.
Tennis or something like that.
Yep, just like doubles in tennis. Yep.
Okay, that's really good. Scoring. Yeah. How does the scoring go?
So I've been told it scores a lot like volleyball, or at least how volleyball maybe used to be scored. So when you have a team that's serving, the only team that scores, like who will score a point, is the team that is serving.
Right.
Yep. So when you call out a score, you call out 3 different numbers. You call out your score.
Okay.
You call out the other team's score. And then the third number is who is serving. So a lot of times that third number is in with doubles. Yeah. So each time a team gets the ball to start serving, you have, let's say the score is 1-1, and then the third number is 1. Okay. If that's the person who's scoring, you have first server and second server. So basically your team gets 2 chances to mess up before the other team gets the ball back.
No, that's okay.
Yep. And in tournament, a lot of times it's first to 15 points. Casually when we're playing, we play to 11.
Okay.
But you have to win by 2 points.
Okay.
So that kind of forces it to sometimes you'll get we had a 16-14 game the other day. That was a long game.
So we'll finish here in a few minutes. Tell me what skill is most required? I mean, movement, or just hitting the ball correctly, or
just to play recreationally, movement is really what you don't have to be great at pickleball to play pickleball. But really just being able to know where your body's moving. And one tip I'll give to anybody who's watching that wants to play, if the ball is coming behind you, turn around and get it, because if you start walking backwards, you're going to be head over heels before you know it.
I've heard that.
Yep. I found myself in that position a few times the past year. And
you're not 75 years old, though.
That's true. Just wait until I am.
Joking with you.
Yeah.
It's really good. Let me do one thing here. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the tournament that you have coming. Yes. Tell me about the tournament.
Yeah. So we have coming up, and this is through the Council on Aging. It is October 13th. It will be, you enter by yourself, and it's going to be kind of a round robin kind of thing. And it'll be in the new.
What does that mean?
So you'll enter by yourself, and you'll have a little score sheet for however many games. We're going to be playing. At least 6 games is the aim, depending on how many people we have, maybe more.
Singles or doubles?
You're going to play doubles. So kind of like if you've been in a euchre tournament, where when the game's over, say one team wins 11-3, something like that. The 2 people who scored the 11 will, on their own piece of paper, write 11, and it's whoever has the highest score total at the end of the tournament will be first.
Okay.
Kind of like that. We'll have it start at 9 a.m. on the 13th. And we'll play it'll probably last about till 12. Then afterward, we will have a small luncheon there at the park. And this is all down at Harrison Smith Park.
Harrison Smith.
Yep.
Well, that sounds really good. I've learned something today, and I reached out to you. I was down there, and I stopped because I took some pictures, and I didn't know much about pickleball. And it's not named after pickles. It's not named after an animal.
Yeah.
It's not, it's come back to a boat.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you very much for taking the time to tell me about pickleball.
I'm happy to. Yep. It's been a big part of my life for the last year, so I'm happy to share it with anybody who'll listen.
Really good. Well, Trey, thank you very much. I guess I would end with, so if I want to play, or if somebody wants to play, they just show up down at the park then, right?
Yep. Tuesdays and Fridays, 9 to 11. And if you want to come, you just show up. We'll be down there, and we'll get you all set up. We'll give you the rackets. We'll show you how to play. All the people down there are more than willing to help anybody learn.
That's really good.
Yep.
Again, Trey, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you very much.